Guillermo, my good friend, I can't be there with you tonight, but I just want to add my personal congratulations. This is such a sublime honor to be celebrated by the ACE. It's a celebration by those who, perhaps more than any others, appreciate the craft of directing, because it's the editors that take our footage and shape it into the final film. And what beautiful and cuttable footage you give them. They know the real deal, and you, my friend, are the real deal, a director for the ages. Your work is timeless as well as gorgeous and thoughtful and deep, and it will stand the test of time. And to my fellow editors, I salute you for this wise choice of awarding the Golden Eddie to Guillermo del Toro. And I salute you, amigo.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. Hey, I could list all the amazing performances of our next presenter, but we don't have enough time. We're trying to keep it to 4 hours and 38 minutes. There are way too many performances to list, and we are on a tight schedule. But if I did have the time, I would mention some of her stunning performances in films like The Help, Fruitvale Station, yeah, where are my fellow BART riders at? Hidden Figures, and so much more. But instead, I'm just gonna leave it right there, because you know her, you love her. I'm gonna cut to the quick and welcome Academy Award winner, yeah, Octavia Spencer.
Sorry, those were a little too tall. I would, first of all, like to congratulate all of tonight's honorees and nominees. But I have the great pleasure of presenting this year's Golden Eddie Award. And oh my God, these letters are too small. So I'm gonna squint. Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. This award acknowledges a director or producer whose body of work. I have reached an age, oh God. Okay, sorry. Yeah, let's roll it back. This award acknowledges a director or producer whose body of work represents consistent excellence, craftsmanship, and integrity. Another requirement for this award, this is just getting worse by the minute. Next time I'll bring my cheat sheet. Oh, thank you, that's better. Oh, Guillermo, please don't hate me. I didn't realize I was so blind. The next requirement for this award is that amongst their fellow professionals, they have to be inspiring. And this year's recipient is nothing short of inspiring. I'm, of course, talking about the great Guillermo del Toro. I have had the pleasure of working with Guillermo on the film Shape of Water, and I can tell, yes. And I can tell you firsthand that he is more than just a marvelous filmmaker. He is a wonderful, wonderful person as well. He has a love for his characters, especially the monsters. And it shows. I mean, you know, you can, who else could give us a film where an otherwise terrifying creature seduces every woman in the audience, hoping that they too can be passionately entangled in this creature's embrace. Oh, I wish these were bigger. Jesus, I'm dying here. Oh my God. Guillermo, I'm just gonna talk to you from the heart. couple of years ago, my agent called me and said, Guillermo del Toro has written a part for you and wants to meet you. And the phone went quiet, and I said, Guillermo del Toro knows who I am? And we met for what was supposed to be, you know, like a coffee, usually what is that, like a 30-minute situation, at the Marmalade Cafe. And that day changed my life forever. Because I got to meet one of my icons. I've watched everything that he's ever directed, everything. And every time I see his name on a script or before a movie, I know that that was written just for my kind. And I have to tell you, our 30-minute meeting turned into a 3.5-hour meeting. And at the end of that meeting, I mean, we talked about everything. We talked about politics. We talked about food. We talked about, you know, antiques. And more food. And at the end of that meeting, Guillermo said, well, I wrote this part for you. I'm not going to tell you about it. I just hope that you would read it and tell me what you think. And if you think my eyes are bad, my driving is equally bad. I drove home as fast as I could, which was probably about 35 miles per hour. And I opened that script, and I read the first page, and it all took place underwater. And I didn't care what my part looked like, because I knew that that first page was meant for me and all the Guillermo fans out there. Because if anybody could write an entire scene underwater and it be so beautifully executed, Guillermo would. And so I want to say thank you for Zelda, and congratulations on winning tonight's Golden Eddie. Let's take a look at Guillermo's work.
Behind this door, a dark entity. Evil, ancient, and hungry.
We were not allowed in here as children. We were confined to the nursery, in the attic.
It is said that at the dawn of time, man, beast, and all magical beings lived together under Aeglin, the Father Tree.
It's a savage world of things dying or eating each other right beneath our feet.
Make the choice. The world or him.
Him.
Ladies and gentlemen, Guillermo del Toro.
Thank you. Thank you, very kind. Thank you. I'm very moved, I'm very honored, and I wanted very much to be here, and everybody says that, but I'll prove it, because I survived an assassination attempt by an unknown piece of chicken on a salad that I ate with Jim Cameron on Tuesday. So his kind words were permeated by my weight loss, sudden weight loss. But I wanted very much to be here for many reasons. The first one is that this is a profession that I tried myself when I was an amateur filmmaker in my Super 8s, my 16mm films, and my early 35. I cut scratch on magnetic reels for the MIGs. I saved little frames on paper clips with the number of the footage on it. But it's not that I recognize the craft and the technique only, it's the partnership that I value. It's the most intimate, thank you. It's not only the most intimate, but the most vulnerable, one of the two, and I will explain that. And you know, there are many descriptions I've heard for your profession that are all wrong, like my profession. They are describing wrong terms. Not that they are inaccurate in some aspects. People say, well, they cut the bad parts out. Yes and no. It's not about that. They say they leave the good parts in. Yes and no. It's not about that. What is it about then? I recognize that our craft, movie making, is symphonic. And I can say that the work with actors and camera is melodic, and I could say that the tempo and the rhythm is dictated by editing, but it's much more than that, because it's also the punctuation, the accents, the underlines, the markings. So is it writing then? I also have heard many times, you write the movie 3 times, once in a typewriter, once on the set and once with the editor. That is also true. But what makes it unique is that what does an editor do? An editor recognizes the movie when it goes by and stops it and talks to it. And what I value about it is that it can be a different dialogue and a different pitch that the editor listens to. I shoot it, I do my storyboards in the morning, I walk it with the actors, I block it with the cinematographer, I shoot it, and then I'm very, very careful not to tell the editor how to cut it or what I'm thinking. Because what you learn with time is that when two people agree in a room, one is not needed. I say this with the absolute comfort that at the end of the day, we'll do what I want. But I think that the most important part of it, the true mark of how important this is to me, is that any interaction you have with any department on a movie, wardrobe design, production design, actors, any interaction, you do in a three-piece suit, in your most powerful behavior, with absolute certainty, and there are two professional partners that you show up in your curlers, on your pajamas, with morning breath. The cinematographers and the editor. We share moments in which you show the most vulnerable state of the movie, you share the most uncertain future, you go up and down with them, and this makes them true partners. And I want to take a moment to recognize Sidney Wolinski, who's here, my partner in Shape of Water. Take a moment to recognize the memory of a dear man, Raul Davalos, who caught Kronos with me. And even if he's not an editor, a partner that visits often enough, strong enough, my editing room, which is Alfonso Cuarón. So to all of you, for existing and for having a profession that is so often misunderstood, I thank you here in my curlers, my pajamas with morning breath. Thank you very much.